like my role is to equip other Christians to do the work. That's kind of how I see it.
Okay.
Because there are people I have interactions with, but because of where I work, because of the people I find myself around, it's not that everyone's perfect Christian that comes through the doors at the church, but I have less interaction
Right.
with non-Christians than maybe you as a pilot do, right?
Okay.
And so lately I've been both being intentional about like, what does it mean to love my neighbor, to pray for my neighborhood, the places where I work, where the places where I have recreation. What does that look like? But how can I also support people who are already doing that, who are already in different jobs that aren't Christian based, that are already going and getting coffee and building relationships with
Yeah.
people for the barista? And how can I support them in doing ministry outside of the four walls of the church? And so I've found myself lately kind of just really trying to make sure I'm leveraging my position to encourage and equip those who are out in what I call the real world more often than I am,
Yeah.
to really effectuate is it Matthew 18, the Great Commission? You know what I mean? Going out and
Yeah.
making disciples of the world. Like I can do that for the people who come through these doors, but I really want the people who come through these doors to do that when they leave the doors. And then we can really have that impact that we're supposed to have as Christ followers. So that's kind of where I've been focused lately.
Okay.
Where God's been
So are you
kind
still
of laying on
doing
me.
worship stuff though
Yeah,
at
still
your
doing worship.
church now?
Yeah.
How are you finding opportunities to kind of do that focus, like you said, equip others? I mean, is this things that you're kind of preparing like to say during worship sets, or how
A
are
little bit
you
of that. A little
kind
bit
of
of it is being
finding
intentional
ways to move
about.
into that role of equipping?
Yeah, so a little bit of it is intentional use of the order of service, what elements take place within this the order of service. And I have, obviously we have a lead pastor,
Okay.
we have that, and they're responsible for some of that in the preaching and teaching. But kind of my role
Right.
is to provide worship, but also to help facilitate the order of service for a Sunday morning gathering. And so
Okay.
really with that, I've been trying to think through how can we leverage our time that we have on a Sunday morning to highlight and to pay attention to the stories and the things that are going on outside of these four walls, and also provide opportunities for people to understand what it
Nice.
takes to actually be a disciple outside of the four walls. So obviously, prayer is an important part of that. So what does that look like in our services? How does prayer take a priority? Meditation, spending time with God, like different practices that you can do. How can we highlight that within a service, within the structure of the service, to make that something that people know we value and is important for you as a Christ follower to understand, so that you can be better equipped to go out into the world and make disciples of people you encounter. And so that's one way. That's a little more
Nice.
less structured, I guess. There's it's like, I hope this kind of works. But the more hands-on approach
Absolutely.
that I'm
Well,
doing,
it's one of those. I'm going to be faithful, do what I can do, and let God do with it what He will. Right.
yeah, and like obviously there's people in my life that bring me back to that, and I'll refocus me on, hey, are you doing that? Whether they are verbally doing that or whether they're just living their life. And I'm like, man, they're doing some stuff that I need to remind myself to keep doing.